Okay, this is how to cook Eskimo biscuits. And the recipe's here. The link for the recipe is in the description below. This comes from Richard Byrd's Discovery book, the 1934 Antarctic Expedition. And from the Coleman McCollum formula, you have the main three foods: pemmican, fat cereal, and Eskimo biscuit. 10 ounces of Eskimo biscuit. And the recipe for Eskimo biscuit comes from right here. And I couldn't find Bovril. This seems to be either not made anymore or it's in Europe. So the closest thing to Bovril I got here is Better Than Bouillon. And basically what Bovril is just it's like a bouillon cube, but it's just a paste. So other than that, everything is pretty straightforward. Wasn't sure what biovegetin is. So that one has been replaced with the dried spinach leaf. And one of the main ingredients, the first one we'll be using is beef tallow. So from Snake River Farms, I found this American Wagyu beef tallow. You could either make tallow or purchase it. 2 cups of water and get them warming up in a saucepan. You don't want to boil it, but just get it warm. 1/4 cup of tallow, and that's why I put one already in a saucepan. This is the tallow, and adding 1/4 cup of that tallow to the water. Two tablespoons of the Better Than Bovril, 1 teaspoon of the milk of magnesia, and just warm that up, mix it all together. Sometimes that bouillon is solid and you gotta warm it up with everything to get it mixed in well. And if your fruit is a puree, you can also add it into this mixture. I'm going to be using dried apples on this one, so those will go in with the dry mix. In a large bowl, mix together all the dry ingredients, but I like to coat the edge with tallow so that it just makes it easier to mix it. Just dip a little paper towel in the tallow, and then you can wipe that all around the bowl. 2 cups of whole wheat flour, and 2 cups of oats. Make sure to use regular oats, not the instant 1-minute ones. Next, we need 1 cup of dried fruit. So I'm going to put apples in this one. You could also use dried peaches, dried blueberries, dried apricots. Toss them in a good food blender. There's the apples, and it's funny, they actually look almost like scrambled eggs. But that's 1 cup of the fruit, of course nice and chopped up, so they mix well in your biscuit. 2/3 of a cup of sugar, and this is a natural sugar I got from the bulk section. 2/3 of a cup dry milk, fortified with some vitamin A and D. And then there's 1/2 cup of minced dried beef. This is the main ingredient in pemmican as well. And there's many different ways to make it. I've just been using beef jerky or smoked beef. Make sure to get that oxygen absorber bag out. And once you've tossed that, go ahead and dump it in. And this will chop it up to a nice powder. So here we have the delicious honey glazed smoked beef powder, and 1/2 cup of that into the dry mix. Next is the biovegetin, or what I would like to replace with dried spinach leaf. I don't have any at the moment, so I'm going to have to skip that. And finally, 1 teaspoon of baking soda. Mix this all together on a fork. And now take the mixture of water and tallow, and Bovril, mix it all together well. Preheat the oven at 350. grease a baking dish. I'm greasing it with beef tallow. And now this should all be mixed together evenly. Go ahead and dump it into the baking dish. And do your best to distribute it evenly in the pan, because you're going to want to chop it up into bars and have each bar weigh the same. Now all I got to do is put it in the oven at 350 for 30 minutes exactly. This is what we get. And I'll let it cool down and cut it up into bars. Okay, so there it is on the scale. 2 pounds, 13 ounces. That's about 45 ounces. So cutting this up into 6 different pieces, this one will come out to 7.5 ounces per bar. My target is 8, but that's close enough. And when you get all done, you got a 8-ounce Eskimo biscuit portion. I like to split it up into 2 equal portions, one for breakfast and one for lunch. So put it in the shrink wrap bag, shrink wrap it down, and it'll stay frozen outside and frozen until it gets eaten.